Good morning, everybody. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and a few other odds and ends. Stick around to the end of the video today because I'm going to give a brief tour of my camper trailer. Well, it's not really a camper trailer, it's a cargo trailer that I've got a little bedroom and kitchen set up in, and I got a table in there that's going to be multi-purpose I'm going to use it as a cooking surface, and I'm going to use it to set my laptop up on. So I'll have to keep setting that stuff up and down, but it's only a 5x10 trailer. I don't really have enough space in there to make two different working areas. First thing I want to tell you is thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for all the well wishes yesterday. I do feel like I'm fully recovered. My hands are still a little bit on the stiff side, and my one knee is still a little bit on the stiff side, but as you can hear, my voice is much better today, so all the inflammation out of that is gone. I am just doing the short loop, so I'm only doing about, I can't even call it a half walk anymore, but I'm just going to do the short loop today because I think it would be foolish in the extreme coming off a day where all my joints were inflamed so bad I could barely move, to actually go out and try and walk 2.25 miles or more. So I'm just going to do the short loop today, just to make sure everything's working right. And I know some of you are thinking, Bob, why are you still in your neighborhood? Why haven't you left yet? Well, because I hurt so bad I didn't get everything ready to go yet. So I pushed back my travel plans by a day or two, and I was starting to push through it and get stuff loaded when I got a text from my sister, and she said that she would like to make some plans for Saturday so that she doesn't have to worry about looking in on Mom. And on my original schedule, Friday night to Saturday morning is when I was going to be heading on down to North Carolina. So I pushed back my departure date. I'm still hopefully going to leave tomorrow. But if I don't get out of here till Friday morning, that'll be fine. Then I'll spend the weekend in Ohio and then go on down south. That's the great thing about being retired. You don't actually have to keep yourself on a schedule. I mean, I know I'm going to be leaving sometime in the next day or two, although I do now have a little bit of a schedule because Janet has some plans for Saturday morning. So I definitely have to be there by then. But before I get too far into this, I do want to say, Susan, thank you. Thank you very much. That was very generous. But yeah, so that's where I'm at on the travel. And I'm going to show you how I've got most of the stuff loaded into the trailer. Now I still have to just throw some stuff and organize the back end of the pickup, and then throw any overload stuff in the back seat of the pickup. But one of the main subject I want to talk to you about today, we've talked about it a lot on this channel, but with all the the comments I see, not so much on my channel, but out there in YouTube land and Facebook land, where people are in groups and they're talking and they're discussing and they're getting upset. Let's talk about transition foods. You know, if you go back and watch a lot of Dr. Berry's videos, or even several of the other people, they'll say, you know, if eating those keto brownies or keto cookies, or using lots of different cheeses, or using lots of dairy, or using, you know, whatever it is, helps get you converted into this way of life and this way of eating, then that's great. They say, yes, you should definitely, if it helps you make the transition, then by all means, go ahead and do those. But what none of them hardly ever say, they don't say this as often as they say the first half. And that is just the first half. The second half is, those are transition foods. You know, if you think that you're going to be able to keep going all the way to your target weights, all the way to the healthiest you, because this is really about health. You know, if weight loss was the only thing we were after, losing weight's easy. We've all done it hundreds of times. But for a lasting commitment to a way of life, of optimal health, you know, if the keto brownies get you through the day when you're first starting out, that's great. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And while a few people will be able to keep on eating those forever, odds are for you to get to your optimal weight, you're going to have to give those up at some point. I won't say which group I was in this morning and who the person was, but I was reading through some comments, and they were complaining that they were in a stall, and they'd been in a stall for several months. But then they, you know, so I've made the decision. I'm going to give up, you know, artificial sweeteners in my coffee and heavy cream in my coffee. And they had a list of like 6 things they were going to give up. Well, if you're still using 6 of those crutch or transition things, and you are, you know, more than 3 or 4 months into your journey, no wonder you stalled. Now, you know, if you're keto, that's a different ball game, but you still have to be at 20 grams or less of total carbs to stay in ketosis. Don't be fooled by all the reindeer games they like to play with total carbs versus net carbs. Because as we've learned over time, That's all they are, is reindeer games. Starting to breathe a little hard, but I'm all the way back up to the top of the big hill at my street. I have to turn and go on up this hill before I get down to the house. I feel pretty good so far. What was I talking about? Yeah, the transition foods. But then as you slowly transition into clean keto or ketovore or carnivore, remember to either take away or add a food one at a time, so you know that's the thing that's doing it to you. You know, if you take away artificial sweeteners with one hand, but then you add back in, say, broccoli with the other, we won't ever be sure if it was the taking away the artificial sweeteners or the adding the broccoli that made the change. Although I can't imagine anyone liking broccoli well enough to make that one of the things they want to add back in. Or Brussels sprouts. Does anybody actually eat those on purpose? Yeah. I think I've said this already, but I don't think I can say it again and say it too often. I really love how we're building a community in my comments section. I see a lot of people not just liking other people's posts, but people are starting to leave suggestions and comments on other people's comments, which I think is great. And to steal a phrase from a popular nationwide gym complex, I like how the comment section has been a no judgment zone. Unlike the comment sections of many other places where there's always somebody crying, well, you can't have that if you're carnivore. You can't have that and still be keto. You can't. The heck with all of that. And here's where I'm going to insert the video showing you the inside of my trailer and maybe a little bit of the truck. Okay, this is a snapshot from the back of the trailer. This big back door normally won't be open, but it's easier to load through that than the little side door. This big empty space right here by the back door is where my air conditioner is still in one of those boxes. It's going to go. It's not going to get installed before I go because I don't know how to do that. I'm going to get some friends to help me do that. But I have my little heater there. This big gray tote has all my kitchen stuff in it, pots and pans. That green bag has utensils in it. The black box is my stove, plus the canisters of fuel. And as you can see, I've got a few bags of rice and beans down there as emergency backup food. I don't plan on ever actually having to eat it, but if something goes horribly wrong and I can't get to town, or there's nothing to be bought in town, I will at least have that. Here's my bunk. Oh, I should probably back out here a little bit so that you can see up underneath the bunk. I have 4 of those soft-sided totes full of clothes already loaded there. I've got 3 blankets, one of which is just a straight wool blanket that'll keep you warm wherever. In that box there is a new set of sheets I'm going to put over the mattress, and it's got pillowcases in it, and I'll do all that stuff. And then I'll show you the front by going around to the side door, so we end up having a little bit more light. But for now, I just put this table in here. I measured this out wrong, and I don't want to redo the entire string of lights. So I'm going to get a little extender for the USB. But I plan on using this little 250 watt battery. So I can just plug into it. And when it's turned on, I then just have to hit the USB button. And you can see they're hard to see, but that brings on my internal lights that I strung all the way around the top corners of it. And then underneath the table, I just got a couple miscellaneous boxes. Primarily what's in there, there's a few odds and ends. That purple and white bag is a really cool thing I found. It's a rinseless body wash thing, so if you don't feel like setting up your shower that day, you can basically you just get those wet and wash yourself with them, and then dry yourself off. You don't actually have to rinse yourself. And then there you see the Jackery battery back there. Not sponsored, by the way. Jackery, if you're listening and you want to sponsor me, I'm all about that. But the other stuff that's in this box is, as you can see, there's keyboards sticking up. These are all of my peripherals that are going to get hooked up to the laptop. I've got, an external keyboard because I hate laptop keyboards. I've got a Bluetooth speaker in there. I've got some headphones. I've got some external hard drives and a bunch of wiring. And then there's my, I believe it's a 53 liter Astro AI cooler that I'm going to turn all the way down to freezer. And I'm just going to load that up with meat. When I'm not in travel mode, because I have to be real careful, like this battery is going to get set down on the floor for actually traveling, because I don't trust stuff up on counters to not fall off. But once I get to where I'm going, these 2 boxes and the battery will go into their different spaces in the truck, and I'll show you where they're going to be in the truck, because what's in there right now for traveling, I have my small fridge set up here on the front seat of the truck so I can load it with water and have cold drinks going down the road. But then I still have, as you can see, I still have lots of space back here. Those dress shoes are still in there from last year, and I got a little bag of books and another skillet and a strainer. I should probably grab those and move those into the kitchen tub. But let me open up the back of the truck here real quick. As you can see, I've got a 55-gallon water tank. Now I will, for just loading it, I can get up over top of it with a hose and refill it. But instead of using the top-mounted discharge that it comes with, I think I'm going to have a friend who's a plumber, when I get down there, put a hole in the bottom of it and put a regular spigot on it, so that I can just run a water line to the back of the pickup truck bed, so I don't have to actually climb up into the truck to refill my water. The purple backpack is loaded up with all my miscellaneous camping gear, actual camping gear. It's got water filters and bug spray and fire starters and tent stakes and all the stuff you might need. That larger, skinnier box has my pop-up shower tent in it, and the big box underneath that has my Olympian Wave 6 propane heater that I will eventually get installed into the trailer. That was nicely donated to me by Dave and Carrie at One Adventure at a Time when they switched over to their Webasto heater. And I haven't decided what I'm going to put in that tub yet, but you can see I got a little fire extinguisher there, and I think I have a spam problem because there are many cases of spam in the truck. But hopefully that gives you a little insight into where I'm going to be living when I when I get down there. And of course I'll make plenty of videos when I get down there showing you where I'm parked and all the surrounding area. But yeah, that's all I have for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little walkthrough. Now I'll kick you back over to the main video. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to get out there and be 1% better today. There should be a playlist over here to go back and watch the entire September challenge, or a video over here you've never seen before. Thanks for stopping by today, guys. Have a great day.